sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. And this is your breakfast bankroll for Monday, January 17th, 2022. Just 14 days left in January. OMG. What a weekend, wild card weekend, where I think a lot of people might have been let down expecting a lot of close games. And as of right now, there was really only one close game, and that was the Niners and Dallas. The others were absolute blowouts, box to wire. And let me retract that. The Steelers played a hell of a first quarter. Both teams just couldn't get anything generated, and a Watt touchdown actually gave the Steelers a 7-0 lead. And I had talked to the ECSI VIP crew, where we had the last leg of our action parlay tied up with the Chiefs -12, which we'll talk about. Got in there on some Chief money after down 7-0, -4, -4.5, and we'll talk a little about that. But fired up today. And if you're new here, do us a favor. Smash any like button that you see on social media. Please go over to YouTube to East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. Tell a friend. Tell your next door neighbor. Tell anyone that wants to listen. Run over to Twitch. Same thing, East Coast Sports Investors. We're trying to build something big here, guys, and we think we give you enough education with a little entertainment to get you to that window. And the ECSI VIP crew and experience got to that window yesterday with our 3-team action parlay, which we do every Sunday, paying $4.89. We had the Bucks money line, box to wire. We had the 49ers money line plus 145, and we had the Chiefs -12 and bought the hook. So a hell of a way to end the week for our ECSI guys. And anyone here wants to get involved and wants to join the family, send me an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com or go to our website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. And or follow me on Twitter and send me a DM and we can talk. But without further ado, the man from the Palm Tree State, his Bucks in a route, which he talked about at length for a week. So let's get him into the studio. Let's see how Scotty is doing. My man, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother.
Good morning, Jeff. How you doing today?
You know what? Woke up this morning, the feet hit the ground, and I knew I had a shot. I only got 24 hours today. That's all we are gifted with. And happy Martin Luther King Day to everyone here as well. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good week. I feel that. And we got one more NFL game to break down, Scotty.
Yeah, it's I guess it's that time, right? I mean, I thought that yesterday kind of played out like we all thought it would. I thought game script wise was important in that Dallas and San Francisco game. And I think the game script actually went obviously the way that San Francisco would need it to go for them to win the game, and they did. It's sometimes hard to predict those game scripts, and hats off to you guys for picking San Francisco there. My side was just thinking about Dallas being at home and and all that crap, but I think there's a couple things there, right? I mean, that particular game, and we can get to the other ones in a minute, but that particular game, everybody's crying about that play at the end where the referee had to come in there and touch the ball before it gets started, and they run a draw play or whatever the hell, and they run out of time. They can't even make a play at the end. So I don't mind the play. I don't think they executed. If you're going to run, you can't run 15 yards. You got to run 10. And then you got to stop and get everybody together and then snap the ball and spike it or do whatever you're going to do and then throw the Hail Mary pass. But I think that was the trouble with that team all day. Their issue was that they had, 15 penalties and stuff and shoot themselves in the foot and poor play calling and all kinds of different things. if you can't get the ball out of your hand and I thought Dak got into a spot there most of the game where he held the ball to see the receiver become open. You can't do that in the NFL. And the issue is that you can run plays and call plays that help that. That have timing plays and do different. Just pick the ball out and throw it to a spot. That's what you do. I didn't think they did any of those kinds of things to help him get on to rhythm and get back into the game the way that they should have. And I think that's a coaching mistake. So I think that Dallas was out coached, and I think that they didn't do a very good job of game planning against San Francisco. And I think San Francisco was trying to give the game away. They couldn't put it away. And they kept trying, and Dallas just kept saying, "Hey, I don't want it." So I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I understand Dallas not being in the playoffs, but I mean, at the same time, I don't think it had anything to do with the last play of the game.
Well, I mean, we could talk to a blue in the face just on that game alone. And the fact of the matter is, yes, the ref has to touch the ball to get it set. So listening to some of the former quarterbacks talk about that play, the play wasn't the wrong thing. As a handful of them said, whether it was Phil Simms, whether it was Drew Brees, the call was correct, but you only can run that, as you just said. They were saying 10, 11, 12, 13 yards at tops and hold on to the ball and hand it to the ref. And again, something that they didn't do there. As for the coach, listen, Jerry wants a puppet. He got a puppet with McCarthy. Yes, he was out coached. I've been saying this for a while. Anyone that wants to listen, I'll say it again. Jerry's guy is Sean Payton. He has made it known that's the guy that he wants. And now, what a perfect spot. I think for Payton maybe to make a change in regards to no Drew Brees. I don't know if Taysom Hill or the Jameis Winston, the Mike Thomas not experience, but there's falling out there. The fact of the matter is this, is if I'm Jerry Jones and I woke up this morning and I know what the problem is, Jerry came out and specifically said, guys, we had enough talent, if not more talent than anyone around. And it only happens so often in the NFL, because then what happens is you start losing some of these key pieces because they want to go out and get paid. So I am on the phone with Sean Payton's agent saying, okay, does he want to come? If so, I am full court press, and I got Sean Payton here by next Monday. End of discussion. Mike McCarthy is not the answer, or we know that. And I don't even think Kellen Moore is the answer, or whatever you want to go down, whoever he's got. But listen, the bottom line, I thought, was the fact is that the 49ers, we said in August and September, if healthy, if rolling, have as much talent to beat anyone in the NFC and get to that Super Bowl. The one name that makes you cringe, A, is he healthy, Jimmy G, and B, you can't make that mistake, and he made that mistake. They had the game in control, and the one thing you can't do, Jimmy, throw that pick. And he threw the pick, and as you said, trying to give the game away. They had 4th and an inch, and they don't get set, and OMG. But what I want to talk about to start is there are some opening lines for next weekend. I got to say this. I was spot on one, surprised at one, and one I'm going to talk about as well. So I thought the Packers would be favored by 6. That was my number, because usually with the week off, these number 1 seeds, that is such a bonus. Get healthy, get stronger. And now you had the Niners technically last week playing a playoff game, win and get in. Now they just coming through in a playoff game. Now they got to travel to Lambeau. Well, that thing only opened up around 4.5. It has now been pushed to 6 at South Point. Number 2, I had Tennessee at around 5.5. Same thing. And that is opened up at 3.5, 3 in some spots. So Joe and company getting some big love here in Vegas as they travel to Tennessee. We don't know what O. Henry's going to look like there. I talked to a colleague, and he says, Jeff, that Tennessee secondary is not good. And so if Joe can have time, he's going to pick them apart. And the third one, Buffalo and Kansas City. We saw what Buffalo did to the Patriots. But we again remember what we saw last, and that's with Kansas City last night. But the funny thing is, again, I always say this, and I think I said it to you on Saturday, Scott. Vegas will open up the number deciding which side they need money on. So if Kansas City opened up at 3.5, they want Buffalo money. They opened it at 2. Some spots 1.5. That's telling me they want Kansas City money. And now it's at 2. There are some 2.5s. So quick thoughts on opening numbers, your numbers, anything jump out or glaring to you?
No, I get that Green Bay number and what you were saying about trying to get it to 5.5, 6, and it opened at, what was it, 4, I think?
Yes.
Or 4.5, somewhere in there. And that San Francisco team, they're just a tough team. So, I have raw numbers right now. I don't have exact numbers, but I'm looking at some pretty tight games here. Whereas I wasn't looking at tight games, from this weekend. I don't see blowouts anywhere. I don't know about what Tampa Bay is going to run into here with either the Rams or the Cardinals, but I don't imagine that's going to be a blowout city either. But it's one of these spots here where I think this is going to be quality football this weekend, and I think that we're going to have some fun. The question is going to be, obviously, in some of these places like Tennessee and Green Bay, even in Kansas City, what the weather's going to be like. Those are two weather proof teams, if you want to call them that. Buffalo, Kansas City, they'll be fine. That's where San Francisco is going to have a disadvantage. Cincinnati, Tennessee, maybe, who knows what. But I tend to think this is going to be a great weekend. I don't really see – that Green Bay number is the biggest number on the board. And I would tell you the only number that could be bigger is if Arizona wins tonight. Tampa Bay might be a bigger number than that over Arizona, but they won't be that big a number over the Rams. So it's just an interesting way to look at things. And I think they're all going to be really close games. Just by the overall feel of what I'm looking at the beginning. I got 27-26 Kansas City over Buffalo. This is raw numbers, so this is not anywhere where I'm supposed to be. But 27-26, 27-23 Green Bay over San Francisco, and 26-23 with Tennessee over Cincinnati. So those numbers are pretty close to where the lines are at, and pretty close to where the feel is. And then I just have to see what kind of where I go with the adjustments and the influences on the games and the numbers, and kind of come up with a number that I kind of like. But I don't think that they're too far off here.
No, in my head, initial thoughts might be Bucks minus, say, 3.5, 4 against the Rams, and maybe you get a 4.5, 5 against Arizona. Again, I think the public will flock to Brady. And I think they'll flock for the fact that they've been so strong at home. In the AFC, if Cincinnati would ever pull the upset, then that Buffalo, Kansas City winner gets to host to go to the Super Bowl. And don't forget, last year, Buffalo, Kansas City, that was the AFC championship game. And it's going to be interesting, but we got a full board today. I'm going to pull up the full board, Scotty. It's MLK Day, and it's a big day, obviously, for the NBA. We got NBA throughout the actually about to tip off at 12:40 at the Garden. The Garden, the first spot for some NBA there. But again, we got the Arizona Ram game. That's your 8:15 kickoff. Rotation number 151, 152. Arizona, the Rams opened up -4. It is now 3.5 across the Vegas Strip, 3.5 at DraftKings. 54% of the bets, 78% of the money, all coming in on Arizona. Your under/over opened at 50. It's 49 at Westgate, 50 at South Point, 50 at Circa, 49.5 at Caesars. 53% of the bets are on the over. 53% of the money is on the under. So kind of sort of moving in the right direction, both sides. Just my 2 cents on Arizona. They've been an amazing team on the road and just straight up, never mind covering. Their one loss on the road was at Detroit, a game where they were 8, 9 point favorites and they got blown out box to wire. This Arizona team on the road has got out early. And once they've gotten out, they've been able to hold on. And I think that will be the key today is are they going to get out early? And is Stafford now going to have more pressure on him to perform chasing, or can the Rams make a statement early in the first quarter, get the defense rolling, and move forward with there, Scott?
Well, this is a tough game because if it was earlier in the season, I think that the predictability factor on both teams is much higher than the predictability factor is today. And what that means just is the consistency of play has been so bad for both teams. What teams are going to show up? I mean, since Hopkins has been out for Arizona and the games he hasn't played, that team is not the same team. I know that Connors has had a great season in terms of fantasy stats and rolling up touchdowns and things like that right at the goal line and stuff, but they don't really have a running game. That team is predicated off of what does Kyler Murray do, and if Kyler Murray isn't running around like a Russell Wilson kind of look, that team's in trouble. And I think that your Rams defense is strong. So now the Rams come into this game with big issues at safety, and that's a problem for this team. I don't know what everybody knows about the game, but the two starting safeties are not playing. And then they got a third guy who's going to be in there. And then they signed a guy that's been retired for 2 years, and he's going to have to play a little bit today. Eric Weddle is going to play safety for the Rams tonight. So that's a problem in itself. Now, I don't imagine that if he's signed and ready to play, then he's signed and ready to play. But I look at this game as these are two teams that are going into the playoffs not at their best and kind of up and down and up and down. But the least up and down is the Rams versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals have had just an up and down. I mean, just 1 week they'll be really good. 1 week they'll go out and play really good against, say San Francisco or somebody. And then the next week they can't play at all against Carolina. And then the next week they get a bye and then they come back and they play well. And then bam, bam, 2 bad games. And then they come back up and then they go back down again. It's who is this team? I mean, they can go out and beat Dallas, and then they go lose to Seattle and stuff like that. So that's my concern with Arizona. And I think in my mind, the way this thing kind of plays out is that the defense is they're going to win this game. And if I'm going to bet on defense, I'm going to bet on the Rams defense because the Rams defense, I think, is better than what Arizona's defense is. And when I looked at EPA numbers and things like that, Arizona shows up as 26th against the pass. That's not going to be good enough. And I get it. Stafford's not been that good, but Stafford is in further developing this and going into that study of these games. He's almost exactly like Tom Brady in a sense that if you move him out of the pocket and you move him around, he sucks. He's no good at all, sucks. But if they can hold up on the offensive line, then and give him a little pocket presence and give him some spots and areas to throw in, he's pretty damn good. So I kind of like that idea. And I know that it's, I guess, theoretically a contrarian play on my side in a sense that I'm not going with the way the money's flowing here and the way the line's moving. I'm taking the Rams, and at this point minus the 3.5, and I'm good with it.
And a couple things to throw out at you. You talked about the coaching in Dallas, where you thought that the 49ers won that battle. I have not been a Kingsbury, whatever the hell his name is, fan forever. I think the guy, he couldn't win at Texas Tech. How do you think he's going to win in the NFL? And I think there's a huge coaching mismatch here. Now, with that said, that Arizona D, as soon as Watt went out, you could see Chandler Jones running out of gas. They weren't putting pressure on the quarterback, but prior to that, they had the bookends that was really making quarterbacks miserable. Did I read or hear correctly that Watt is going to be available today?
Yeah, he's playing. The question is what is he going to look like? But yes, he's playing, and just by him being out there, and everybody forgets maybe that he's got a motor on that guy that just doesn't stop. I mean, he's he could have his leg to be falling off or something, and he's still going to be out there flopping it around, going as fast as he can go. So he's going to be out there. I don't know what kind of productivity you're going to get from him, but he's going to be there.
So it's one of these games again. We had focused in all week on the Niners. We thought that was the one dog that we thought we could get to the window, and then this game on paper on the lines itself is the same as the Dallas game. Again, listen, I like Stafford. I think this is one guy that gets more egg thrown on his face. Yeah, he makes some bonehead plays. But for where he was in Detroit before his back went out, he was having a season. He was the leading candidate for the MVP. I mean, he was just throwing up monster numbers. He's got Cooper Cup. They're going to try to ease Akers back in. Sony looks like he's struggling again. They're at home. This is a real tough game because again, as our buddy Mr. Lucky talked about early on Sunday, he gave me an attaboy and a hats off when the Niners won the toss and they went down and they made a statement. They scored 7-0. If Arizona does the same thing, they're that type of team again that gets out early, maybe a tip pass, maybe an interception. Next thing you know, it's 10-0 there, and you're playing the chase game. The pressure starts to add even more on Stafford there. Secondly, as me and Mr. Lucky have had some good talks about, going back to the Cincinnati Raider game, two of the best kickers in the game. There were 7 field goals kicked there. If you can get in position, boom, they're going to make the field goals. Big edge here on the Rams with Gay. He is one of the best kickers in the game. He's got a leg that will kick it to the moon. So edge again, Rams. If Donald has a big day and he's in Kyler's face 24/7, well, we kind of know which way this game's going to go. But if Kyler's out there running around with his like a chicken with his head cut off, or if you said Russell Wilson, get out early with a JJ Watt, using him on key downs, saving him, this is probably the best game on paper before it starts, Scott, for the weekend.
Yeah, I mean it's a good matchup. I just think that when you're looking at this game and the consistency factor, this is what I'm looking at, just so that you can see. I can't put it on the screen here because it's on my computer, the other side, and now I've got another one. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so Arizona week by week DVOA, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The first 8 games, they're all above 0%. They're all in the good spot. They're all in the positive. So that's the first 8 games. So the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next 8 games, 1, 2. There 5 of those 8 games are below average and well below average, and only 2 are above average, and one's just right at the edge. So they've been up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And the consistent thing with that is no Hopkins. When Hopkins went out, so it just is a percentage rise. So DVOA offense, the weeks that Hopkins is in the game, they are positive 8.3%, and it's mostly on the passing. They're 39.1% passing positive. when Hopkins is out of the game, the defense or the offense goes from a positive 8.3% to a negative 3.6%. And the pass offense drops from 39.1 to 7.1. That's terrible. And then they don't pick it up on the rushing side. So that's the problem. The problem is they can't run the football on a consistent basis, and they're sitting there running around with Hopkins and not Hopkins, running around with Murray, and Murray has a great rating of what he can do when he's out of the pocket scrambling around. He's really good at that, just like Russell Wilson, really good at that. The issue is that the Rams can put the pressure on this team. The Rams have the defense to rush the passer, and I think that's what you're going to see. And I don't. The problem with the Cardinals is that when Murray's gone, they don't got another wide receiver, Jeff. I mean, and now they're down to trying to figure out who's going to play wide receiver, because the guy that's been playing the fourth wide receiver for them, he's not going to play today. So they're down to who's going to play wide receiver. And I know that Kingsbury is supposed to be this offensive genius and all that stuff. And at the beginning of the season, he had a great defense to rely on. The defense has been struggling, and the defense against the pass is not very good. So I tend to think that in this particular spot, you can take the Rams head coach and just do, take him over to the Waffle House and put just start flipping pancakes, and the pancakes are Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, when you just flip him and flip him and flip him, right? I mean, that's how leadership wise this game kind of feels and goes. So I can see it. I can see the people wanting to bet on Arizona, and I can see them, all that stuff. But this is kind of one of those games. Do you bet on what you think that the Cardinals are, or do you bet on what they've shown to be? And in my opinion, I'm taking the stance that I'm going to bet on what they are, not what they've shown to be at the beginning of the season. I loved the Cardinals when they first started, and I was on the bandwagon saying nobody's giving them enough respect. They're the best team in football. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. This guy's out, that guy's out, this guy's hurt, that guy's hurt. They can't stop nobody, and then you got to worry about the guy who's leading the team. So I'm good here. I feel pretty comfortable that I think that the Rams are being undervalued, truthfully, and I think that this is a good spot for them.
Yeah, and I'll end on this one where the fact, two things here. Both road teams have won in this series this year. They're both 1-1. The road teams win in the games. Secondly, the Rams last Sunday were up 17-0 and about to claim their number 2 seed and be sitting in the catbird seat where your Bucks are right now, they would have played one of those tomato cans already, and they'd probably be sitting here like the Bucks right now, wondering who's coming, to town. And you'd probably be playing on this Monday game instead of the Rams. So that's another thing to keep an eye on there. Again, everyone watching and listening here today, I think this game shakes out is which Arizona team comes out in the first quarter. I really do. I think if Murray and company get out early, they're going to be a tough out. They really are. But I think if the Rams D make a statement and they take the egg off their face after the 17-0 lead, I think they get ahead. And I think, like you said, I think you start to put some pressure on Kyler. No Hopkins. I mean, they're leaning on AJ Green. It sounds like, Rondell Moore will be out. They do have Christian Kirk. They have an aging Zach Ertz at tight end. Not Cooper Kupp, not Odell Beckham, not Higbee. So again, lean Murray at quarterback, slight lean because of the legs. But other than that, I think the Rams do check all the boxes. And I do lean the Rams. I mean, if I could get this down to 3, I definitely would. Maybe shop around, see what a price of a hook is. The money line's a little too steep to be playing and run into the window there. So good evaluation, everything there, Scotty. NBA, again, full slate on Martin Luther King Day. We got games around the clock. One tipping off in 33 minutes. That's New Orleans at Boston. And then at 1:10, we got Charlotte at New York. 2 o'clock, Philly and Washington. 3 o'clock, Brooklyn at Cleveland. And how about this? Cleveland 3-point favorites against Brooklyn. And Chicago at Memphis. The red hot Memphis Grizz of 5.5 point. Actually opened at 5.5. The Grizz are now 8.5 point favorites against Chicago, and so on and so forth. You see anything in the NBA, Scott?
Yeah, I in the early slate there, I'm on Charlotte today. It looks like you can get them right now at +2, but if you were watching these numbers just as you and I were speaking, they were +1. But I like Charlotte against New York today. My numbers come out to a pretty good sized advantage here for Charlotte, and I get it. Charlotte doesn't play that great defense, so it's just a matter of can New York run it up, but they play offense, and I like the idea here that that they're going to be in a spot, and especially here over the last, say, home and away. I like the idea that Charlotte's going to outscore New York. They've been pretty good on the road in terms of numbers. They just haven't been great on the defensive side, but Charlotte's defense over the last 5 games has been much better. Their defense efficiency is 103.8 there. And it looks like we got someone in the group there just loving Jamarant there. So, but I like the idea too that the pace of play, if Charlotte runs up the pace, I think that makes it so that this is a game where New York has to try to stay with them. And my opinion is that I think that Charlotte can win that game outright. So I like Charlotte in that game. That Cleveland-Brooklyn game is all Durant not being in the game. You've got to remember he is out. And Cleveland's been one of the more bigger surprises this season. However, also keep in mind that Kyrie Irving is going to play today. And he plays on the away games, and he's not listed in protocol today, so he should be in that game. So I'm leaving that one alone. And the other one here that I'm really looking at, and is and I can't play it, give it out now. Milwaukee's one of those teams that shouldn't have too much trouble with Atlanta tonight. Atlanta's like 2-9 in their last 11 games, haven't been winning at all, and really struggling. But I think that number is pretty real now at 5.5. Earlier, my number shows that it was at 2.5, and I know it says open was at 5.5, but somewhere down the line, I saw that number, and maybe I have fat fingers and typed it in wrong, but 2.5 was a number that I had for Milwaukee as a number sitting here going, okay, 2.5, 224. I kind of like Milwaukee in that spot, but now that it's 5.5, my number says 6, so I'm not touching that one. And the other one that I like is I like Miami tonight. Miami has had some issues with Toronto. But Toronto, it's -3 in Miami. Miami just got beat by Washington. Not Washington. They got beat by Philadelphia. They are a strong, dominant home team. They play good defense. Toronto does not play the greatest defense in the world. So I like the idea here that Miami's going to do well. So my plays today are Charlotte, Miami -3. And I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to pull the trigger on Phoenix, San Antonio under 227. I haven't done that yet, but I like that game under 227.
Full board on the NBA. Myself and Scott will do our best to be back here around 4:30 today for the closing bell. We're going to be able to see where these numbers are going, especially in the NBA, see if there's been any movement. See if there's been any movement in the NBA / NFL today. Yes, no one can stop John. No one can stop Joe Burrow. We got a lot of comments from this man. AF Alarm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you haven't done it, come follow us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button and jump over to Twitch. Looks like you're on YouTube now. So good morning, good afternoon, actually. Busy day of sports. It's a new day. It's a new week. It's a new beginning. We are 14 days left in the month of January. It's just hard to believe how quick this is going. Where a week from now, we'll be talking about the AFC NFC championship games and just a few weeks away from the Super Bowl. So everyone today, thank you, thank you, thank you. Always remember this. When you are wagering, always wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number there. Ask for help. Why? Because we care. We want you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Scotty Webb at Webby20 MLB, we wish you a blessed day. We want you to wager and invest responsibly. And myself and Scott will see you in just about 4 hours at the closing bell. See you soon.